Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to trigger Happy Havoc Danganronpa. So, it's gonna be a weird situation, definitely, in that there has been nearly a full week since I last played the game. Um, Now, normally when I say something like that, that usually means that I'm just not super interested in the story or the game, which is not the case in this instance. Instead, what happened was I had major power problems in the middle of a large snowstorm and had to, at one point, completely abandon my house for a couple of days simply because they had just not had power nor heat for over 48 hours. But for the most part, that is all dealt with, and there was no permanent damage, so all that was lost was time, and while time can never be regained, it is also often not that valuable or that big of a loss compared to lives or property objects. Um, there was definitely some scenarios there where I could have potentially tried to stay to protect property and ended up losing life or damaging life more than that. But that's as much as we need to really cover in this. That all that's really means is that I potentially am not going to remember exactly where we are. It also means that had I not saved completely, mean we may be a little bit further back because the computers um, definitely were designed and they're set up to just shut down as quickly as possible as soon as the power goes out. It's not really worth it, frankly, to try and have a battery backup uh, happen. Have the battery backup try and make the whole game like keep on recording and keep on playing, because my battery backup really could only go so far down that path, and it really would only give me maybe 15 minutes at most. And since these recordings in particular are like 2 hours plus, sometimes that's not really that helpful. We are noticing here that the most recent one we have is Mystery Photo 2, and there are two places where we've missed content. It did occur to me as I was thinking about this is the idea of right after Leon Kuwata was killed, it would have been interesting if Makoto or Byakuya had said, I would like to call a second class trial right now, and for us to determine who the blackened is who killed Leon Kuwata, and in that way you could potentially demand a class trial to indicate Monokuma as the next killer, and then potentially see if Monokuma would kill himself. At this rate, I guess you almost, since this is sorted in such a way, it seems like there might be 4 more class trials, which seems like a lot, really. Artwork gallery is still completely locked. Still a lot of achievements too. Sound gallery. How are we on the sound gallery as far as unlocked things? We are missing something here. It's crazy to think that there are this many different variations on the same song, but seemingly it does. It is that way. Of course, there's a big difference between music that is composed to be listened to solely and focused on, and music for video games which is composed to be ignored completely. suppose we could go down to the school store, but I don't think that's worth it either. And this whole unlocked section, just don't know. And then chapter select. We can see there's a chapter 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, so there are like 4 more chapters. Alright. Okay. So let's hit the back button. Monokuma says, "Attention, please gather in the gym as soon as you possibly can. Quickly, quickly, quickly." He made a special announcement asking us to come to the gym. Alright, so then that does highlight that we have completely saved and we haven't missed any of that. So where we are in the story, we are in chapter 4, interesting, is I'm not sure have had any free time at all. And I'm not sure that we did anything other than, what was that one say? I haven't used it since then. So he hasn't apparently cleaned his room, although I don't know if you really need to. And all the scratches on the wall and the floor are missing. So like there's, yeah, I don't think we had done anything other than look for Monokuma tokens, as it were. So it'd just be easier, I think, to teleport over here, go through here, and then we can look on the map here and see that there's nobody else here. We can see that Sakura is here, and then that triggers an event. And at this point, we can't go anywhere else. So it would just be easier to teleport to this than it would be to walk around. So let's talk to Sakura. You're the last one. Everyone else is already inside. Aren't you gonna go in? ... However, I have a bad feeling about this. More than just a feeling, probably. Monokuma did call us all together after all. ... Sakura.
Well then.
Makoto. If something happens to me, Hina. Huh?
I'm sorry.
No, never mind.
So then.
I'm... Who would ever believe in someone who doesn't believe in themselves? Sakura? Of course, thought that one. Still a ton of dialogue that you can either choose to skip or go through. Boy, is it a small group of people nowadays. I kind of had forgotten about just how small the numbers had dwindled down to. Everyone must have heard the announcement, and once we were all gathered at the gym, it began. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7. Still, this is the same animation. It's just with fewer people in it. Okay, let's get this show on the road. You're about to give us our next motive presentation, aren't you?
That's right.
You got us all together to present another motive, right? Is he right?
Huh?
We have to go through this again? Ugh, not again. I can't take it anymore.
I see.
I'm impressed by your level of dismay. You finally see just how low on the totem pole your life of life you really are. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That's not at all. We're not here to talk about motive.
Today, I'm feeling black.
That's an odd voice line. Today I'm feeling black. The reason I gathered you all here is so that I could get rid of my grudge. Your grudge?
Why?
We have a grudge against you, of course, but I don't recall you ever having a grudge against us. I told you yesterday, didn't I? An eye for an eye, a fang for a fang. Stop beating around the bush, just tell us what you're talking about. Well, Byakuya, you've already told everyone how one of you might be working as a spy for me, right? Which is funny because I feel like he only said that in the bathhouse, so that might be an indication that even though there's not a camera in the bathhouse, he could see in the bathhouse.
Come on.
Yeah, so what about it? Although, it'd be practically impossible at this point for me to remember if he did mention that somewhere else.
In other words.
Well, today I'd like to tell you about that spy. What?
Hey.
So guess what? The spy is actually Sakura Ogami. ... He said it so openly. He made it sound like it wasn't that big of a deal, even though he just revealed a huge secret. What? What did you just say? You said the spy is Sakura.
Is this?
What are you talking about?
A liar.
There's no way that Sakura is the spy. Right, Sakura? ... Sakura? And I might just make Sakura fulfill that promise she made sometime soon. And if she doesn't care, I can't be responsible for what happened to that hostage of mine. Well, see, you say she's a spy and then you mention the hostage. Well, that kind of undercuts a lot of mistrust, if not all mistrust, against Sakura. If she's being forced to be a spy instead of willingly being a spy. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. What you guys choose to do with that information is up to you.
Chills.
Roaster, boiler, kill her, don't kill her, whatever. Well, see, if you kill her, though, then there's another class trial. Unless the whole group just decides to kill her. But then even then there might be a class trial, so... Like, you can't just kill her, you've got to kill her and hide who the murderer was if you even want a chance of succeeding.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Either way, I can't wait. And just like that, he was gone. So, like, the interesting thought here would be if this was to subvert Monokuma's expectation, would be to simply forgive her and not punish her in any way. That would be the thing that would piss off Monokuma more than anything. Thinking about particularly the fashionista character and looking at the intro video one more time as I loaded up the game today, I kind of feel like what's going on here, unless there are like flashbacks, prologues, or a new game plus where we get more information about, say, the fashionista character or the pop singer, Sayaka. What I'm thinking is each of these characters may very well have been created in almost a confirmed assumption that there would be sequels and spin-offs, and that each of these characters at some point would get more limelight and be more of a focus. And we know that for Danganronpa that is definitely the case. There is at least one spin-off in Ultra Despair Girls, and there's Danganronpa 2 and Danganronpa 3. Actually, there's a game from the creators of Danganronpa that is basically the same idea as Danganronpa, but perhaps a little bit more child-friendly even. Where it's kids that are trapped under an underground aquarium. And that has just kind of been announced. So yeah, I'm thinking that maybe they were smarter than they were, than I think, by creating the characters, making the characters visually interesting, in the hopes that they're in a sequel, these characters, or a prequel, these characters would be reused. Even in that, you kind of know that unless there's prequels or time travel or alternate universes or clones, you still need some way to have the characters be alive who have long since died, or died very much at the beginning of the game. Moving on. Finally, I understood what he had been talking about. An eye for an eye, a fang for a fang. In other words, betrayal would be met with betrayal.
What the heck?
So what does this mean? Is it true? Has Ogre really been spying on us for the mastermind? What are you saying? There's no way. But that is what the stuffed animal said, right?
Wrong.
Well, he's wrong. There's just no way.
Hey,
Well, Sakura, if he's wrong, all you have to do is tell us. ... I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier. What? Then then he was being serious for serious. Ogre's been working for the mastermind. I'm sorry. So you've been lying to us all this time. It's really weird for Toko to throw out that accusation when Toko was lying about her split personality at the beginning of the game. It's not true. Sakura was probably being controlled. There's got to be some reason. She didn't have a choice. She was just forced to do it. Yeah, I'm sure Hina's right, says Makoto, throwing in his minimal 2 cents as usual. The mastermind probably threatened her somehow, and Sakura had no choice but to do what she was told. What? You're talking like you know that for a fact, because I do know it for a fact, says Makoto. I'm trying to burn through this story as much because I saw it. I saw Sakura and Monokuma fighting. That's when I heard it. Monokuma mentioned a hostage for a second time, right? And during the fight I heard Sakura, she's decided to fight against the mastermind.
I see.
You saw all that? The mastermind took a hostage, so you were forced to swear loyalty to them, right? But in the end you made up your mind to betray the mastermind.
What?
Which means Sakura isn't our enemy, she's our friend who we can trust without question, is that it? Ridiculous. Do you live in some alternate reality fairy tale? She was the mastermind's tool. You absolutely cannot trust someone like that.
Impossible.
He's right. We can't just believe whatever she says now. How can we even be sure she really did betray the mastermind? Maybe this is a double bluff, and she's still doing exactly what the mastermind wants. Sakura would never do that. Okay then. If you really have cut ties with the mastermind, then tell us who they really are. Well,
I'm sorry.
sorry I can't. Even I don't know that. You don't know? That just makes you all the more suspicious.
please.
She's telling the truth. You have to believe her.
Don't make me repeat myself.
Shut up. I'm not finished questioning her.
Come on.
Next question. What is this about a promise? What did the mastermind order you to do? ... I was told to kill one of my friends. It suddenly felt like the temperature in the room had dropped 20 degrees. The weight of those words.
I see.
I see, so even now you're taking aim on our lives. You're wrong. I'm telling you, Sakura would never do that. You don't have to yell. We can hear you just fine. Don't you have an inside voice?
That's terrible.
It's because you're not listening to me.
Wait.
Please stop. You don't need to defend me anymore. I have to take full responsibility for this.
However,
How do you intend to do that? By destroying the mastermind. What? I'm going to challenge them. Even if it means we both go down, I will defeat them.
Sorry.
That's how I intend to take responsibility.
huh?
Hold on, what do you mean? If you both go down?
Hina,
I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this. What?
I'm sorry.
I didn't know what to do. I went back and forth about confiding in you again and again. But I was scared. I thought if I told you, you might think less of me. Sakura?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So it's kind of fairly obvious what's going to happen now. Sakura turned away from us and left the gym, and then... Ding dong bing bong.
This is a school announcement. It
So
is
it's
now
10 p.m. They go back to sleep, and then when we wake up, almost certainly Sakura is dead.
Soon the doors to the dining hall will be locked, and entry at that point is strictly prohibited.
It does bring
Okay,
up an
then.
interesting idea
Sweet dreams, everyone.
that
Good night. Sleep tight.
perhaps it would have been
The bed bugs bye.
smarter to have alter ego investigating each of the students as much as investigating the files, particularly since Alter Ego now is not really doing anything. Well, it's nighttime, we should all go to bed.
No way!
Hold on. This whole thing with Sakura is
Don't make me repeat.
over. She's our enemy. There's nothing more to discuss.
That's terrible!
No, Sakura is not our enemy. Why? Why doesn't anyone understand her?
What?
Was it you think you think you understand? You didn't even know who she really was.
What is this?
That's
Calm down.
let it go for now, Hina. Talking about this isn't gonna help anything. But
Anyway,
go to your room, cool down, and we can continue this discussion tomorrow. So yeah, Hina's really upset that Sakura is the spy. I'm not sure if the story would have really changed much, at least as far as we've seen so far, if there just hadn't been a spy, or if Monokuma had lied and said there was a spy. It does certainly run into the problem of like sequels and such, that you would have a character act as a spy. But maybe in the sequel of Danganronpa 2 that there is a different spy, so maybe there's always a spy. And I don't even know if the spy really gave any information or helped in any way Monokuma's plan and the Masterman's plan anyways, because it's obvious at this point Sakura didn't kill anybody, nor did it seem like she's leaking any information to Monokuma that he couldn't just have easily gotten through cameras or research, which he's kind of obviously done some research on each of these characters, quite a lot of research. So I'm not sure there's any real spying that she has actually acted on. It was the worst. The mood at the end of the night was just the worst. Being in such an awful mood, we were honestly glad the day was over. Sakura is the spy, she's the traitor, ... Byakuya said Sakura is the enemy, but he's wrong. She's not my enemy, she's my friend, without a doubt. But what can I do? What can I do to make everyone believe in Sakura? How? So it just throws you immediately in bed? It didn't even say he went to bed. Interesting. As long as you're human, there will always come a point where you wish you could do things differently. Even the baseball player in the major leagues, even a soccer player touring Europe, even a famous singer who started a career as a backup dancer on a sketch comedy show. I wonder, is that a reference to someone? I think there was a famous singer that was a backup dancer on a sketch comedy show. She makes a brilliant debut, but instead of going for more, she marries a third-rate actor and retires. Yeah. I don't even know what this reference really is to, but almost certainly this is a reference to someone famous that in Japan that they've localized to someone famous in the West, or it's a reference to someone famous in the West that the writer of Danganronpa just happens to know. Every human has regrets, has things they'd like to go back and change.
Cause I'm a bear.
And so there's a board game spinner back there that is a reference to the game of life. These Monokuma theaters still don't make any sense. Really? And I just wonder if we're really going to get any free time in this chapter.
Good
We may
morning,
very well
everyone. It is now
have
7
very
a.m.
little to
and
no free
nighttime is
time
officially
at
over.
all for the rest of the
Time to
game.
rise and shine. Get ready to greet another beautiful day.
I'm worried about Sakura. I need to hurry up and get to the dining hall. I guess if we are just at that level anyways, there's kind of no reason not to not look for more Monokuma tokens, because I don't think we're gonna see any. And it seems like you can just kind of wander around the entire school right now. which I guess would let you get the Monokuma tokens if there were any areas I haven't investigated. I'm not really sure where we are with the relationship with Kyoko, but we are approaching the point where I stopped watching Game Grumps cover this game, so I don't know what we've revealed, and I don't want to spoil anything. Kyoko, good morning, ... She said nothing. She's ignoring me. Is she really that mad at me? Well, actually, it's not just Kyoko. Ever since Monokuma summoned us last night, the atmosphere around here has gotten really heavy. I can almost feel it looming over us, weighing us down. Sigh. Well, if nothing else, I need to patch up things with Kyoko as soon as possible. Okay, yeah, Kyoko was mad at me and basically not talking to me, giving me the cold shoulder, because I refused, and the game forced me basically to tell her about Sakura, which that does write you out of a problem of not having to have Kyoko reveal any bit of information, or develop your relationship with the relationship with your character prematurely from the point where they want that to probably happen. But we also are going to get out of that problem fairly quickly, as Sakura's being a spy was the thing you were hiding. But it may not matter, frankly. Once again, we're being jumped directly into dialogue, which is good. Oh, Makoto, are you okay? Huh? What do you mean? You were late, so we were worried about you. What a dullard. Toko, Byakuya, what are you doing here? They're taking refuge here. Refuge?
Such ignorance.
Don't make that stupid face. We have to protect ourselves against the Mastermind's tool. Masterminds? Are you talking about Sakura? ... That's when I finally noticed the only one that wasn't in the dining hall was Sakura. And Sakura. I'm gonna mispronounce it half the time. Huh? Where is Sakura?
Stop talking.
All I know is if she were here, I wouldn't be. The only reason I went out of my way to join the rest of you as a safeguard against that threat.
What is this?
Why? Why do you hate her so much? The thing here, of course, is Sakura is the ultimate martial arts student, so she probably could karate and beat to death Byakuya or any of the other students. So she kind of is the obvious mastermind spy in the first place, because physical ability is going to trump a lot of other characters' abilities in a murder game. Why do you hate her so much?
Naturally.
Isn't it obvious? Because this makes things unfair. The game should be fair to all players. The existence of a spy for the mastermind upsets the balance. That's a stupid reason.
What did
Stupid?
you say?
This is a life or death game, is it not?
That's terrible.
It is stupid. You're a stupid idiot.
Hey,
Before you get too far into your argument, maybe we should stop and think things through. Why did the mastermind reveal that Sakura was the spy to us? They were getting revenge on her, right? Like Monokuma said, an eye for an eye.
however,
That may be part of it, but it's not the whole picture. Revealing that fact was also meant to serve as the next motive the mastermind wanted to give us. The chaos and confusion born from suspicion, the hatred.
in other words,
This right here, the fighting and the bickering, this is the trap the mastermind laid for us. Knowing that, will you still stand there and argue like children? That's not what I'm trying to do, it's just... I mean, how can I get you guys to believe in Sakura again? If she can really beat the mastermind like she said, that'd go a long way in my mind. Idiot. You'd really ask her to do something so dangerous? What if something terrible happens to her? It wouldn't matter. What? If Sakura were to die, that's one less person for the mastermind to control. I have no problem with that. Hold on, Byakuya. In fact, if she did die, that would settle this entire issue, wouldn't it? It would put the whole problem to rest. Slap.
What the
And
hell?
here we have a custom animation with Toko in the background. Once again, this feels like this is slightly drawn by a different person. What
You
the?
disgust me.
I really wish every visual novel was fully voiced, but this is once again a game that shows where partial voice acting just reminds you that the rest of the game is not voiced. Whereas if I had actually just had to read the whole thing out and there had been no voice acting, I probably would have quickly forgotten about the lack of voice acting. It is counterintuitive in a weird way to have specific scenes voice acted and other parts not. On top of that, though, this doesn't have enough voice acting or animation to make this even a decent like visual comic or pitch for an anime, which you really don't need to have done a little bit of animation for a visual novel to use that as a pitch for a fully animated show. And I definitely would have to say that it would be difficult, to say the least, to convert this story, which is long and wordy, into what a modern anime would be. There's not a lot of action there. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of redundant things. You would basically want to take the 7 or 8 chapters of the entire game and turn them into 7 or 8 at most hour-long episodes, like direct to DVD or movies, short movies.
You're a monster.
Let's move forward. Let's not lose momentum here.
To say something like that, it should have been you. You should have been the one to die.
So, at what point, and in comparison to who, is Aoi referring here that Byakuya should be the one to have died? It could have been at any previous past. I should have died? Interesting. Oh, he's still voice acted, but now we're back to the default animation, which that is also a weird split. Go ahead and try if you dare. That's how it works here, after all.
What is this?
You think I can't do it? Hina, calm down.
That's right.
This is exactly what the mastermind wants. It's exactly what Sakura doesn't want. ... What's wrong? Lost your nerve? ... I'm leaving. I'll be in my room. Trembling with anger, Hina ran off. And then Toko's here. That stupid cow. How dare she? She should die 1,000 deaths. No, 1,000,000. So, she was just another hysterical little girl. Hardly worth my attention.
Just a second.
It's what other people call having feelings, Byakuya. And all you can do is mock them for it. What's wrong with that?
Hey,
A friendly word of warning. Someday that attitude is going to come back and bite you hard.
I don't have time to play with you.
I will happily elude its attempts. And I will happily elude its attempts. So, you know, how about we, eat? Or maybe now's not a good time. Hee. Without a word, each of us left the dining hall. We headed back to our rooms one by one. Woo. ... So what should I do today? Like, just the weirdest possible time to have free time. So who do I even want to hang out with? That is going to be an issue, certainly. Every single person of any importance is, or left, is on the 4th floor. So do we want to just power through and hang out with Sakura? Or do we want to try something different? Let's look at the report cards. We haven't hung out with Sakura at all. We haven't hung out with Toko. We have hung out with everyone else, and we'd just be going in circles. And then I guess if we go back in circles here, then the idea would be, are we going to get more skill points for the people that are still alive, of which there's very few, or are we going to get more skills? See, I guess Aoi and Toko and Sakura are really our only options. I kind of feel like I should just hang out with Sakura first, just to be careful. Alright, so I'm just gonna fast travel this way, go into the Kim area. This was where that protein was. We've already investigated all these areas though, so let's just talk to her.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure I'm ready to open up just yet. Maybe if you create the right opportunity. Should I hang out with Sakura for a while? Sure.
I see.
Even if I don't feel like talking, you'll still stand by me? I still don't understand you, Makoto. Without saying a word, I stood by Sakura. Sakura and I grew a little closer today. Would you like to give her a present? Yes, definitely. Still got plenty of these. I still assume that the lower the thing is, the better it is. And see, you're not really affecting the story here, so it's not like I could give her a... Well, that's an interesting thought. What if I did get a new game plus and gave the spare bat to Leon and that maxed it out? Or I gave the crazy diamond item to Mondo, or I gave the super robo justice to like Celeste. Like, that would be an interesting new game plus twist to it. Okay, well, let's see, which one do we think is just a guaranteed thing for her? I think it probably is the wraps. Yeah, I think the fresh bindings, which I have 5 of, I'll just give to her. This would be funny if this is not what I should give to her. You want to give me something so splendid? ... You know, I'm not quite sure why, but somehow you remind me of him. And there we've got another yellow word that feels like it is at some point going to be replaced in a new game plus to explain the story better.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, forgot I said that. I'm just talking to myself. Anyway, I feel a little better now, thank you. Seeing Sakura so pleased with something I gave her made me happy. I have plenty of time. I don't feel like sitting around here. I should go somewhere. Alright, so then now people are in different areas. And in this case, well, you do seem to have free domain and free reign of the entire school as far as everything that's unlocked. Everybody seems to just be here. See if we can find Toko, and I guess just hang out with her. I guess we are just trying to have a little bit of a diversity there, because we did hang out with Sakura, but I'm not sure that did anything with us. Yeah, it didn't. So, yeah, and I just don't feel like, I mean, we could test this. If we walk in here, and we hang out with Ioi, which I'm certain we have hung out with her. That, I mean, this conversation, it's not like these two are gonna not let you hang out with people.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate the thought, but I'd like to be alone right now. I need to time to myself, I need to think. Although the one skill I haven't developed, that's one skill I haven't developed too much of. So if anything, they maybe, listen, I'm really sorry, but I can't want to be alone right now. Alright, so these two literally cannot be hung out with. So I guess we are forced then to choose Toko. Otherwise we're gonna have to cycle back to the guys. When are we ever gonna get out of here? Not that I have much to look forward if I did get out. Should I hang out with Toko for a while? Sure.
What's your problem?
What? More pity? Aren't you such a good person showing me all this pity? I spend some time with Toko. Now in a normal visual novel, this would be the point where you hung out with someone and it would unlock multiple lines of dialogue and a whole story and event would occur. And they just kind of skip over all of that because that's not the focus of this game. But at a certain point, you also have to think, well, why does this game even have the hangout mechanic at all? You could almost see, you could see the game doing away with the free time section, since it's really just providing falling action in a story that probably shouldn't have any falling action anyways. And you could instead have it become a case where if you just score really well in the previous class trial, you get a skill, or you get to know somebody after their death and know them a lot better, or maybe you throw in an entire just hidden object minigame in which you search their room and find out more by reading their journals and like spying on them after they're dead. Honestly, a hidden object concept would be interesting because I've never really seen the idea of a hidden object search game in a visual novel, and anything that can spice up visual novels for a Westerner probably is a good idea, whereas probably Easterners, people who really like how visual novels play and that there aren't any real gameplay mechanics and you can very mindlessly just go through them with very little thought and no skill as far as controlling the controls and moving your fingers and thumbs account for. I imagine maybe people wouldn't like a hidden object concept. That being said, 999 is exactly that idea. The nonary games, you are in locked room puzzle sections, and in those puzzle sections you can talk to people, and sometimes you trigger events to talk to people in the puzzle sections, where the rest of the games outside of the locked room puzzles and the escape sequences are standard visual novel fare. Alright. Toko and I grew a little bit closer. Here she's blushing again. Would you like to give her a present? Yes, definitely. It would be it would be funny, frankly, if you could convince Toko or Genocide Jill or both to really be in love with Makoto and just give up on Byakuya. Alright, well, I feel like the novelist fountain pen is gotta be like one of the highest things. But I'm a little surprised if it wouldn't be the Dog and Cat magazine. Why do I must have given that to somebody. Who did I give that to? That's weird. That must have been something I gave to somebody on mistake. Or I gave it to Hifumi. Hey, but this obviously is the right thing. If she's the ultimate novelist, this pen is a great gift. Sorry, but I'm already engaged to Master, so I can't go on a date with you. If you're okay with that, I don't mind if you think about me. Okay, well, thanks for the permission, although I would almost make an argument that you can't control other people's thoughts, so if there's some people enjoying themselves thinking about other people, that's just how the world goes. Although maybe it is a little special to give permission on top of that. That's a weird thing to say, but it is kind of expected from Toko. Seeing Toko so pleased with me with something I gave her makes me happy. ... She's just standing there. Does she want something? ... She's not saying anything. Now she's looking away. ... Maybe I should try and start a conversation. Toko? What? You want to talk to me? Well, I can't stop you, so talk already. And now she's blushing again. Okay, sure, but what should I say? So, what do you do in your spare time? So now is when we trigger the actual event and gonna have actual backstory. Why do you want to know? Well, I mean, you know, we're trapped here together, right? If we're gonna be friends, which is interesting that would be in yellow because then that almost opens up the idea that if there was a new game plus that they would turn into enemies or lovers, or it has to go one way or the other. I'd like to, it'd be nice to get to know each other. What? What'd you just say? After that part about being trapped, we're gonna be what? Friends. What do you mean, friends? You think I'm stupid? You're trying to trick me. I've already been hurt once before. I'm not gonna let it happen again. You've been hurt? What happened?
Anyway.
Come on, you don't really care about me. You don't really want to know about me. Even I know that. No, that's not true. Fine, then tell me. Tell you what? You know why they call me the ultimate writing prodigy, right? Yeah, sure. You won all those kinds of literature prizes and stuff. Then tell me what I'm good at. Tell me what my genre specialty is. If you really want to convince me you give a crap, you should at least know that much. The genre of the ultimate prodigy, and you can't bring it up, is romance. It's romance, of course. Huh? Oh, you actually knew. So I guess you could have potentially boned it on some of these events, but in the previous times when I have messed up on those events, it just said no, try again, which implies to me that you can't actually fail these scenarios unless it gives you more points for getting it right on the first try. But whatever internal XP or point system it has to unlock skills and skill points must be a very small scale, because you don't have a lot of opportunities to make mistakes and correct for those mistakes otherwise. Unless, of course, they want you to play this game multiple times through, and if that's the case, they need to create like a fast track mode where you can skip major sections. Ah, you actually knew. Your biggest success was So Lingers the Ocean, right? Everyone says it's your masterpiece. Your book was such a hit that fishermen shot to the top of all the hottest men polls, right? How did you know all that? There's no way you care about me. Now, how does Makoto know this? In part because he spied on all of the students on the forum at the beginning. I think that's the reason he knows that. I'm telling you, I do. I mean, we're friends, aren't we? I'm blind. Your straightforward nature blinded me. Hiya. Toko ran off screaming like a banshee. I'm not really sure. Does she hate me now? Toko's report card has been updated based on your experience with her. You've just unlocked the skill vocabulary. Give yourself a pat on the back. You earned it. Once we're all done, I headed back to my room for a little while. And if we even get a third free time, I'll be surprised. Nope. Ding dong bing bong. It would be so easier to simply say, after that I headed to my room, and after that it had gotten late, I headed to my room and went to sleep, and then you could skip about 5 lines of dialogue here.
Soon the doors to the dining hall will be
Oh, I
locked,
just went to sleep
and entry
early.
at that point is strictly prohibited.
Like, this is getting repeated
Okay,
a
then.
lot.
Sweet dreams, everyone. Good night.
This probably does highlight a problem with game publishers' relationship with game developers. There almost certainly was a game publisher that funded the development of Danganronpa, and they signed a contract with the developer saying there must be 80,000 lines of dialogue or something along that lines, some number. And to make that number, then you have the game developer creating repetitive, unimportant content instead of just letting the story naturally flow. This would be true for a novelist in the West too. Stephen King, with his publisher, probably, at least in his early days of his career, probably was required to write stories that were at least a certain number of pages, and I wouldn't be surprised if authors like Stephen King have in the past put pointless scenes in and pointless lines of dialogue. And although nowadays print books probably are so expensive to create, even when done on the cheap, that it might be more valuable to simply have a few less pages than try and hit some arbitrary number. And certainly we see it in other games where they have arbitrary systems and arbitrary, like, free to play type mechanics, and the game just stretches on forever for no reason. I'm also in a very different position than I was, say, 10 years ago as far as the number of games and the amount of time I have to play games. So if this was the only game I bought per year, I would probably appreciate Danganronpa being incredibly long like it is, but that's just not the case. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of games on my Steam account. I could easily jump and play anything else. Plus, once you hit that level, there's certainly enough games to justify going back and playing a game you've already played, even over playing a new game. Anyways, it's nighttime already. Today feels somehow uneasy. We still haven't settled things with Sakura. Everyone's in a terrible mood. I just hope nothing happens tonight. I'm surprised nothing happened last night. They probably just so we had some free time. Now we got some baby crabs. After I declined the offer to become a shrimp, the tech support lady just refused to drop the issue. Once the shrimp idea was dead, she came back suggesting I should become a crab instead. How much can one person love crustaceans? I said no, of course, and she shot back, okay, then how about to make you extra special you can be a crab that walks sideways and backwards. But how's that any better? I don't want to go sideways or backwards, I want to go forward. I heard her annoyed sigh at the end of the line, and then she said, "You just don't see the splendor of the crab. Haven't you ever heard of the tale of the crab and the monkey?" Crab and the monkey? Nope. Of course I've heard of it. I know all about it, but so what? The crab beats the monkey, but it's just some legend. Hardly relevant to our greed-obsessed modern society. Sure, monkeys still show up in movies and stuff from time to time, but not crabs. Monkey-themed clothes are sweeping the fashion world, but the crab doesn't stand a chance, right? What I'm saying is crabs have no place in today's Lightspeed world. Do your market research, lady. Which is why I chose the always popular bear image.
And that's the secret origin story of Monokuma.
Yep, the screen is just getting overfilled with items. And they're drawn roughly, so it's not like they feel like they could have been important bits of evidence in a murder mystery or anything like that. So I just don't know why this section exists at all. If anything, it kind of feels like the Monokuma Theater dreams are literally here to be placeholders to hide what Makoto's dreams would be normally. And in some kind of New Game Plus mechanic, we will, instead of seeing Monokuma's theater, we'll start to see dreams of Makoto and his backstory, which we really aren't getting Makoto's backstory at all. Or perhaps Makoto seeing alternate realities or previous events. And maybe that is why there are so many of them, is that these Monokuma theaters would get replaced in the New Game Plus. But they could easily have just been ignored and not there in the first gameplay anyways. It would have been much more impactful, in my opinion, if you started to play the game, a New Game Plus, and you go to sleep, and instead of just going to sleep and immediately waking up again like you did the first playthrough, you start to have dreams, and the dreams reveal things that you wouldn't know otherwise. Particularly if you had a dream and it showed your interactions and conversations and your experiences with the other characters, and that bumped your relationship meter up with each of the characters a lot faster in the course of events. That could totally change the timeline.
Get ready to greet another bee.
I need to do something about Sakura. I better go to the dining hall and talk to the others about it one more time. Alright, so now we can't go anywhere else. Well, actually, it does seem like we can go somewhere else, and we know that there is a 5th floor that we still haven't unlocked. But the idea of there being a 5th, 6th, and 7th floor is kind of crazy. So I guess we have to just walk out here because we're not going to be able to fast travel. And then that's going to trigger it. Ooh, huh? Was that someone screaming? I think it came from the dining hall. Now, is there any reason whatsoever to, like, so there's basically no reason to run around and try to go to other rooms because the game won't let you. We basically had no reason to go to the bathhouse and deal with Alter Ego. They've kind of just forgotten about her for the time being. Makoto, we've got a big problem, man. What's wrong? Look. His fingers shook as he pointed. Oh, you know what we also didn't do is we didn't look at the report card as we just hung out with Toko to see what that skill actually is. Ah, it doesn't actually tell us what vocabulary does. Alright, well. So here we have Hina apparently being attacked by Genocide Jill, and we get to see that band-aid on Hina's leg again. It is a detail that was a poor choice, to say the least. There really is no reason to have a flesh tone band-aid on her leg that you didn't have to have all the animators draw in every scene, when you could have easily ignored that. Sure, I get the idea of her supposed to be being sporty, but if that's what you wanted to do, then you could have put it on her face. A small band-aid is on her face, which maybe means more animation, or you could put it on her hand, which would probably be less, or just not have it at all, frankly. You already have the one knee brace. Could have also put it on her chest, since they are already focusing on her cleavage, and her cleavage isn't really that big compared to most anime girls. The angle of the background of this room is kind of awkward too. Like, there's a camera and a corner here that we just don't ever get to see, assuming that the doors behind Toko are the doors that you come into. Then we look at Toko or Genocide Jill, and she's being drawn. Her tongue not as incredibly long as the standard animators do it. Her hair seems a little bit maybe wilder and more brown. We'll have to see if she has an orange scarf always. They could have done an upskirt shot here, and they chose not to, but they are showing that on her leg is some kind of pouch that she undoubtedly holds some, if not all, of her murder weapons with. Why, in particular, Genocide Jill would attack Hina is the question.
Are you okay? What happened?
We're back to voice acting.
She killed her. Genocide Jill killed Hina.
Hina doesn't look dead.
You gotta be kidding!
No, she's not dead. Open your eyes. No way she's dead. And see, yeah, I guess she did have an orange scarf, and her hair is a little bit darker in the standard animation. Her eyes are crazy and wild, and her tongue is a lot longer looking the way it's depicted here, just because you're zoomed in more. Her knives are now not in her hands. Why? What happened? Well, Toka and Hina, just all of a sudden they were yelling, and then they knocked the pepper off the table, and that led to a sneeze. And so here we have the crazy spinning tongue of Genocide Jill with the scissors. Like, there really, I think, should have been somebody that would have taken the writer to the side and said, hey, we don't need the voice lines of USOV and like all the cussing in English is just really weird. And maybe in Japanese it makes a little bit more sense that would be the emotional phrase that was being yelled and used a lot, so that they could reuse it a lot. But what it comes down to is it just makes it seem like all the voice actors wanted to be incredibly foul-mouthed instead of trying to be more emotional around it. And there's a turning off point as a Westerner there where it's like, well, how can I really care about Genocide Jill whenever she eventually gets killed if most of the voice lines I've heard of her is just her cussing at people and being rude? Whereas had the voice lines that they had chosen to emphasize and been were more emotional, I would have potentially been more on board of empathizing and caring about Genocide Jill. Anyways, her stories say, or dialogue is, her giant balloons are a little too perfect, aren't they? I might be flat, but at least mine are real. So she's, both Toko and Genocide Jill are jealous of Hina's large breasts. And look at my shapely collarbone. Doesn't it just totally set you on fire? Anyway, you're totally not adorable, boys. Just don't get... Anyway, you totally non-adorable boys, just get her out of my sight, okay? Or else. So, seems like Genocide Jill is also into Byakuya, or at least not interested in any of the other characters. I'll start cutting and cutting and cutting, and indulging myself for who knows how long. Okay, then let's get Hina to the nurse's office. Come on, hero, help me. What's funny here is, in this action, Genocide Jill has really dropped the ball, is trying to gain her stated goal of proving that serial killers can be trusted and that they aren't just stereotypical psychopaths who would attack and kill people at random. Sure thing. But it definitely would be fairly stupid to think that Genocide Jill in any way is sane. So her lashing out and being crazy is definitely believable. Genocide Jack's abrasive laugh chased us out of the room as we carried Hina away. By the time I finished taking care of Hina's injury in the nurse's office, she seemed to finally have regained her composure.
Sorry.
Thank you. Are sure you're feeling better? Yeah, it was really just a scratch. But still, that was super close. If you hadn't yelled out, you'd be dead right now. It's all thanks to me, you know? Yeah, well, 1,000 thanks to you, sir. And again, that in Japanese probably maybe makes a little bit more sense, because I don't know if she means that honestly or if she means that sarcastically. And frankly, in Japanese, like, there kind of isn't a lot of sarcasm in Japanese. You can definitely say things and not mean it, but you tend not to say things in a way that you let the other person know you don't mean it. So sarcastic that just makes you sound even more hostile. So I guess that was supposed to be sarcastic. Perhaps the sarcasm there in Japanese would be to say it incredibly formally, just out of the blue. Alright, so are we... Let's just look here. In any position where we really need to scan things a second time. I kind of think no, but I'm just going to really quickly see if we have any nice coins that pop up. Just to make sure that we have been all in this room. Since I've forgotten. And it's been a long time since I last played. So yeah, all she really did was scratch her. Let's just talk to him. But man, I couldn't believe it. I was positive I was about to see someone's life come to an end. If I ever saw something like that, I'd never be able to sleep again, which would suck. I love sleep. Yeah, never mind the person who actually died, right? So, just a line of dialogue. Hey Hina, what the heck happened? We just got into a fight and I lost my temper and flew off the handle. So we've got to react to everything, so we'll react to the fight. Let me guess. The fight was because of Sakura.
But
At first I just tried to ignore it. If you let jerk buttholes get to you all the time, you can never have time left to live your life. But she just wouldn't let it go, so I just, without thinking, I felt like I wanted to punch her like a dozen times.
Serious?
A dozen punches isn't really without thinking. And when things got out of hand, Genocide Jack let loose, right?
Sorry.
It's my own fault, but I just couldn't take it anymore. Because she was saying all these terrible things about my friend, you know? Before I knew it, Hina's eyes were starting to well up with tears. And see, this is kind of like the great point here where the voice line of my friend would be way more useful and emotional, particularly if she says my friend while sounding sad always. And just as the tears were on the brink of spilling over, the door to the nurse's office burst open. I thought the door was going to fly off its hinges, and there she stood before us. So here we have Sakura still alive. Interesting. Hina. Sakura. You're hurt. What happened? Oh, nothing. It's not a big deal. Makoto, Hiro, what's the meaning of this? It wasn't me. It was Genocide Jill. It's all that demented, murderous fiend's fault. Grr. To hurt Hina, damn you. To leave me alone. But to hurt her. What is this?
How dare you?
What is this? I'm okay, really. It's just a scratch. Grr. So anime. Glowing with power and rage. Now we have Yasuhiro turning into the new speed bump to the conversations, who's just gonna scream. Hiro, if you want to hate someone, hate me. If you want to hurt someone, hurt me. I don't hate you, exactly. Why? Somebody save me. And see, we had that line of dialogue. I literally am fairly certain that he has been voiced to say that line. So why did he not say that line? Hiro nearly tripped over himself as he ran screaming out of the nurse's office. But just a second later, ... What's going on? What's all this noise about? So I guess the nurse's office isn't soundproof. Kyoko stood in the doorway of the nurse's office, taking Hiro's spot in the room.
Would seem...
I gathered that something had happened. Kyoko, please, you have to stop Sakura.
Wait.
You don't need to stop me. I'm okay. I'm not going to do anything. I'm drawing a line right here and now. Drawing a line. Goodbye. Wait, Sakura. Hina sprang into action, leaving the nurse's office to chase after Sakura. The only ones left were ... and Makoto and Kyoko. Which again, I assume we're supposed to talk to her. Kyoko? ... Are you still mad? Yeah, I figured.
That's fine.
It's fine. Huh?
Whew.
Again, we have to react. About that issue we discovered earlier, it doesn't matter anymore. Then, do you forgive me about not being able to talk about it?
In other words,
You could have told me about Sakura and Monokuma fighting, but you stayed quiet. You were only thinking of Sakura, and that's why you didn't tell me, right? You didn't want to confuse everyone until you could talk to her and be sure of what you saw. That's what you were thinking, and that's why you didn't tell me, right? Yeah. That's a very guy response. Like Kyoko says 3 lines of sentence and he shows yeah back. To think like that.
I wouldn't have expected such arrogance from you.
See, this is an interesting line, but it's a line you could have certainly used more often with Kyoko. What? Because ultimately that means you don't trust me. No, that's not it. If that's how you feel, I really can't change your mind. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
It's fine. I've already forgotten about it. Besides,
And
I may have overreacted, and now she's blushing. Huh? Anyway, it's done and over with. Like I said, let's forget about it. See, I really just don't understand where these relationship elements of the story could go. Like you're either gonna keep it all puppy love, or you're gonna take it to the extreme. And it would be very weird for there to be like dating, romance, marriage, or just sex appear in the story. None of that really improves the relationships or the storytelling by much, really. If the idea was that you were supposed to get really, really close to one character and that was the last character that was going to get killed, that might be a bit of a twist, but that is certainly a lot of setup for that twist. Plus, you have the idea that if the idea was everybody was supposed to just stay here and live for the rest of their lives, you would almost certainly have to have a time skip to explain a relationship developing enough to get to the point where they're boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, having kids, because these are high school kids still. Although, frankly, they don't particularly act like real high school kids that much. Anyway, it's over and done with. Like I said, let's just forget about it. Okay, thank you. So if I talk to her again... That issue we discussed doesn't matter anymore. Do you want to talk about something else? Interesting. Well, we can now react to something else. Which, that does all of a sudden open up a door that I very possibly have missed some lines of dialogue by simply not talking to people a second time. Particularly when there's a prompt for a react. Which, again, the react mode is weird in the way it works and how rarely it's a thing that works or that exists. What is it you wanted to talk to me about?
Indeed.
Actually, I'd like you to come somewhere with me. I have business there. Where?
So,
Just come with me and you'll find out. I guess, but...
shall we go?
Well then, shall we get going? With a typical indifference, Kyoko turned and walked away, setting a brisk pace. Ah, Kyoko, I hurried to catch her. So I guess maybe there's a possibility I could have just walked away from that scene, or maybe the game wouldn't have let me, and thus this is a scene we would have always seen. Maybe not. This could be very much a branching path that we've locked ourselves into. She walked ahead in silence, and in silence I chased her, and eventually we arrived. And we're in the bathhouse. The dressing room. So there's something else you mentioned. Is, I assume, alter ego and not to take a co-ed bath together. I may have overemphasized how willing high school students are willing to co-ed bathe. Or how often it really happens. So, there's something else you mentioned.
Indeed.
That's right, it has to do with alter ego. But you said we didn't need alter ego anymore.
Wrong.
I didn't say we didn't need him. I just said he had done his job. Besides, it's not us that needs alter ego. He has business with us, huh?
Right.
Alter ego asked me to bring others to come see him. Apparently, he has something he wants to ask us. Alter ego wants to ask us something. Alright, well. Again, I don't think that there's a real reason to...
Correct.
To delay this, so we'll just go directly to the conversation. Hello. What's funny is in the video, they show Chihiro, the creator of Alter Ego, working on multiple computers surrounding her in the intro video. But there's never a scene of that actually in the game that we, at least so far that we've seen, and Chihiro's been dead for quite a while. So unless there was some point where we got inside of Chihiro's room to see a bunch of computers in a circle that she could have been programming on, they must have left that on the cutting room floor. Oh, so it's just the two of you, Kyoko and Makoto. Makoto's fingers glided across the keyboard. Is 2 not enough? No, it's okay. 2 should be plenty. But what is it he wants to ask us?
Indeed.
Let's find out, shall we? Kyoko typed in a question. What did you want to ask us? Yeah, so I'd like you to take me somewhere where you can connect me to the school network.
What?
So no Wi-Fi, apparently. Kyoko and I quickly glanced at each other. She replied, "Why?" Well, you said my job was done, right? But to just stop here, saying I finished my work. I don't want that. I want to keep being helpful to everyone. I want to work as hard as everyone else so that we can all get out of here. That's what Master would want too. So to help everyone else, to solve the mystery of the school, the only way I can help is if you connect me to the school's network. But if you did that, that's basically suicide. I'm positive the mastermind would find out about it. They'd find you and they'd... You agree, right, Kyoko? ... I realize how dangerous it could be, but still, I have to do this. I'm scared, but I can handle it. I don't really understand why, but when I think about everyone else, my courage starts to grow. You might think I'm just some inhuman AI, but it's true. So, it's okay. It's odd how many lines of dialogue here are for alter ego when you could easily explain that alter ego just doesn't speak and only responds in text, and saved yourself some budget there. It's for the sake of everyone else. I won't be afraid. Couldn't help but get lost in that voice. It was just too committed, too admirable, too fragile.
Hey.
You remember what I asked you before, Makoto? You asked what is the difference between a person and a program, right? Yeah.
Certainly.
When I talk to alter ego, I don't know. I have no idea how to answer that question. I think maybe that's a question even the program's creator can't answer. But I can say this.
Correct.
There's no question that alter ego is our friend, Kyoko. To be honest, I don't want alter ego to push himself anymore. Because if we take any more risk, the mastermind really will notice it, but...
Makoto.
Let's do it, Makoto. Let's connect alter ego to the network. But...
Hey.
He's our friend, so I want to take his feelings into consideration. And he says he wants to fight alongside his friends.
Now,
if you were in his place, could you sit by and do nothing in this situation? If you saw everyone else fighting and doing their best, could you just look the other way? Or would you stand up? Stand up tall next to everyone else and tell them you're their friend. ... Hey, are you guys fighting? ? If it's about me, please don't. I want to believe in myself. I want to be able to say, I know I can do this. So please let me try. ...
Listen.
Besides, there's one place where the mastermind might not notice. One place?
That's right.
Remember, there's another place besides here where there's no surveillance camera. A room without surveillance camera is the secret room. It's definitely not the AV room or the music room. I don't even know where the AV room would be. Like, well, no, I guess the AV room is the room on the first floor, and the music room is the room with the piano on the 4th floor. That's it, the secret room you told me about. I definitely remember there was no surveillance cameras in there. I do believe you can connect to the network from there, which I assume that is the one of those 2 plugs on the left. I remember seeing an Ethernet port on the wall.
However,
do you have an Ethernet cord? Because you're going to have a hard time making an Ethernet cord, even if you had the 6 or 8 wires you need. I think it's 8 to make an Ethernet cord. It's been a long time since I've made one instead of just bought a pre-made one. But yeah, you really are not going to be able to connect a computer without an Ethernet cord, so we have to just assume that there is one somewhere that's not being mentioned. However, just because there's no camera doesn't mean there's no danger. There's no way to be sure the mastermind isn't monitoring the network somehow. We'll also have to move alter ego. The mastermind may spot us going into the secret room. If they pick up on any of this, then it's all over. You're right.
That's what we have to do.
But despite all that, I still think we need to try.
Correct.
Because it's our best chance of finding any new clues. ... Kyoko. In that case, will you let me carry him? There's no way you could hide him with what you're wearing, right? So let me do it.
It's true.
Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Thank you.
So then.
Then let's get started. Yeah. Makoto, even though we don't see him that much, is wearing a hoodie, and so he definitely probably can hide it a little bit better than the more slim cut, tight fitting jacket that Kyoko is wearing. It's going to be a little cramped for you, alter ego. Bear with us, okay? She's also wearing a skirt, so if he's going to stuff it down his pants, I guess that might work too. We started packing him up right away. I closed the laptop and stuffed it underneath my jacket. It tickles. Shh, you can't talk right now. We're going to move you to another room. Until we get there, you have to be absolutely silent, okay? What's funny is he's talking directly to her, and we have pretty much established at this point they don't, it doesn't have a microphone on it, or it doesn't listen. It only communicates by being typed to. Understood. Your command has been implemented. Good. To have him react like a machine like that all of a sudden, I didn't know how to react.
Makoto.
In the secret, there's a bunch of different cables in one of the desk drawers, so there might be a network cable in there.
However,
Assuming the mastermind hasn't taken it already. Well, all we can do is go and check for ourselves.
it's true.
Agreed. Let's head to the secret room. Which, in a funny way, this really just feels like what they're doing is that they should probably just play up the idea that they're group bathing together and now they're flirting with each other, and they're now sneaking off to the bathroom on the second floor to have sex with each other. Guess we need to look at the map in general just to see where there's nobody to talk to in the dormitory, but apparently there is Toko. So did we possibly just speed by the other guy? Yeah, we did. So we might as well talk to him. Oh, Makoto. What the? Why do you seem so surprised? Nothing's wrong. Why did anything be wrong? He's acting really strange. Well, I guess he's always acting really strange. Okay, well, gonna go back to my room now. Take her easy, partner. See ya. So I guess we're supposed to just bump into these people to see where they are because a murder has happened, I assume, while we're doing this side mission. That's a different sound.
Have you reached that certain age?
And then, again, a weird dialogue line to pick. My obsession? What are you doing? Living. I see. Anyway, I'm heading back to my room. I'll just be there, living, totally calm. That's a weird to have a voiced laugh that's different than the laugh we normally see. Like, it's just odd. Odd choice of ways to go. And I guess either the idea is Kyoko is with me, or she has been hidden particularly well in this hallway. Yeah, I guess the idea is she's with me. There's so few people now, it kind of does make sense now to start running into people to establish their alibis. Now when we look at the map, we can see Kyoko's with us. So let's see what happens if we try and go in the girls' room. This isn't where we need to go. Come on, we have to hurry. We'll just once again check to see that there's nobody else on this floor. Hey Makoto.
Why?
Are you sure all the documents are gone? I refuse to believe you. Go and check again. What?
Listen to me.
Just hurry up and go, and make sure you don't run off. I'm gonna wait right here. Oh, I get it. She's acting. She was so forceful, I thought I'd made her mad again somehow.
Just a second.
Why are you standing there? Hurry up and go. Okay, I'm going.
So then.
And be thorough. I'm counting on you. So she leaves me to potentially be attacked or murdered in the secret room again. They didn't even show us that scene of the secret wall again. Okay, first we have to find the network cable. Alright, so there's literally only 2 things to click on, so we'll click the wrong thing and the right thing. So many documents here before and now nothing. Who took them and why? And we'll try the right thing. According to Kyoko, there should be a bunch of cables in this drawer. Found it. There is a network cable, right? In this instance, it would have just been easier if there was a network cable hanging out of the wall to begin with, and then you could have just skipped this whole conversation because it is just pointless. Now we just have to connect alter ego. Immediately got to work. I pulled out the laptop and connected it to the Ethernet port. Now if alter ego is going to be running for a while, you also would want to plug it in, and they seem to have done that. And that should do it. Let's see. So now alter ego is going to talk to us. Yeah, I think it worked. Just leave the rest to me. I swear I'll find something. Now, if the AI has the ability to access a network and like snoop around and spy and just run basically network file exfiltration commands and protocols and schemes, then you would think you would have it completely capable of also protecting itself and trying to stay stealthy and protect itself in general from anything on the network. But we just don't know how technologically savvy the mastermind is, although we kind of have to assume very, considering how Monokuma seems to be either an AI or a robot being controlled by somebody, but his mechanics in particular are very, very advanced. So I would assume network security would be similarly advanced. I might even be able to connect to the outside world. If I can, I'll see if I can call for help. So please, just wait a little longer. Just hold tight and put your faith in me. If anything, if we didn't know that there were 3 more chapters, there could be this case where this was closer to the end of the game than or it felt like we were close to the end of the game. It does kind of feel like we're close to the end of the game, but we kind of know that there's probably going to be 2 or 3 more murders and maybe an epilogue. As I was about to leave, I decided to leave him with one last thing. No matter what, we're going to get out of here. You and all of the rest of us as friends. Friends? Even me? Thank you. Thank you, Makoto. So we just automatically leave?
Makoto.
How'd it go? Well, it went okay, but all the documents were gone, just like I told you. My reply was, an unintentional mix of acting and real feelings. I see. Then there's nothing left for us here.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Before I knew it, Kyoko was walking away. She wasn't acting anymore. That much for sure. Ah, Kyoko.
What?
Interesting. Why have somebody voice the word what and then not use it a lot? You could have had every character voice the word what or yes, just some kind of confirmation that you're starting a conversation or asking a question. Of course, also in this case, they've localized an English use of the word what in the voice acting, and then they've localized the type, the subtitles to say yes, so very inconsistent. Yes, so are we just gonna split up?
Why is that?
Of course, I have no reason to stay with you at this point. Well, maybe, but isn't that a little too direct? Should I hesitate and fumble for something to say? You're so high maintenance. That's not what I meant. I just had more I wanted to talk to you about, like, what are you gonna do about Sakura?
It's true.
Well, something has to be done, it's true.
However,
But the way things are right now, there's no way to persuade anyone. They don't have the mind to listen. Then what should we do?
so
If we can find some new clue, that would likely change the situation. That's all we can hope for right now. I'm a little surprised that Byakuya isn't kind of demanding to search Sakura's room, and frankly, maybe if Sakura offered that, that could be an olive branch too. It's like, yeah, search my room, find all the you can see that I don't have anything secret there. Or Sakura could agree to always be in the presence of Hina, or even maybe Makoto and Hina, which is why alter ego. All we can do is wait and believe in our friends. You're right. That's our only option. We parted ways and I headed back to my room. ... I'm kind of tired, so I laid down in bed. Maybe it was just because of the stress of moving alter ego, but I was more tired than I realized, so before long at all. So this time he does fall asleep, while in the daytime, instead of the game giving you more free time to hang out with the more people, I had completely dozed off. ... Now we have a ding dong. Yeah, undoubtedly if I was in a scenario like this, well, I pretty much do this anyways, I would sleep very sporadically and quite a lot. I would probably not be very comfortable or get a high quality of sleep, but I probably would just go down for naps 2 or 3 times a day at random points. Huh? Ding dong. The sharp sound of the doorbell pierced my sleepy haze and pulled me back to the real world. And if a chapter hasn't changed, there's really no reason to search. Rattle. Makoto, get out here. Kyoko, what's going on? Hina just came to see me, and she was white as a ghost. It sounds like something's happened. What? As soon as I heard those words, my heart started to beat a little faster. Then I suddenly found myself wide awake. So, she said for us to come to the rec room. The rec room? Okay, let's hurry. And here we can now see that there's only these 2 characters on this floor, and they probably don't want us to go anywhere different than the rec room. Makoto, Kyoko, what's wrong? Something's not right in the rec room. What's inside? There's a window on the rec room door. I hurried to look inside, so I may have missed an opportunity there to talk to Kyoko, but she probably wouldn't have said anything important. When I did, Sakura. So we have a custom art here, and I will say, just because I have already seen this part, we are approaching the part where I stopped watching Game Grumps. That there is more to see here than just seeing Sakura in her torn sailor outfit, sleeves torn off sailor outfit, sitting in a chair. You should take note of there being a piece of cloth, it looks like, to the lower right. There being 2 bottles missing from the shelf on the left, and the locker in the upper right being open. There is also some pieces of something behind her right foot, which is on the left when you're facing her. Sakura's outfit in particular is not important, I don't think, but it is ridiculous. It really just once again highlights how ridiculously over muscular she is drawn as a supposed high school student who is the best martial artist student possible. Sakura, is she unconscious? She's sitting up in the chair like she's bowing her head.
Hey.
What's going on? Did something happen to her?
Huh?
I was just walking past and I happened to notice her through the window. This is odd because this is also the only door that we've seen in the entire game that has a window. Every other thing has windows covered and barred. But I couldn't get the door open. I tried knocking, I tried calling her name, but she wouldn't respond. So what should we do? What are we gonna do?
Anyway.
First of all, we need to get into that room. But the door's locked, right? If we break in, we'd be violating school regulations.
Listen to me.
We're gonna force our way in. I just said, the door isn't locked. It's not locked because the rec room door doesn't have a lock. Huh? Then why?
It seems
Feels like the door's pressing up against something inside the room. Is it the chair? The chair.
in other words.
Either way, the door isn't locked, which means, as far as I can tell, the rule doesn't apply. Then there's no problem if we break in.
Indeed.
Let's smash the window. That should be the fastest way. Okay, I'll go get something to break it with. Wait right here. Inside the rec room, Sakura still hadn't moved an inch. She's just unconscious, right? So once again, only door with a window to smash. Is she okay? I mean, it's Sakura, so I'm sure. ... Kyoko didn't reply. There was only silence. But the silence didn't last long. Here. Huff, huff, huff. I found a broom. Huff, in the classroom. Huff, huff. Use it.
Makoto.
You can handle this, right, Makoto?
Please.
Come on, please hurry. Which is funny because I would say Aoi is probably more useful to break a window than Makoto probably is, since she's a physically fit swimmer. I don't know if we saw a broom in any of the classrooms though, so that once again highlights the idea of there being objects in corners that we just can't see. Okay, you two stand back. I took hold of the broom and swung it as hard as I could, aiming directly at the window. All it took was one solid hit. Notice that they're not bothering to animate the broom. Crash. The window shattered into 100 pieces, scattering across the rec room floor. I stuck my hand through the now open window and started jostling the chair, leaning against the door. The chair is pretty heavy, but if I can just... Pushing with all my strength, I finally turned the knob. Sakura. I ran up to her as fast as I could. The moment I laid my hand on her... Here we have a very, very different animation style. There. Clearly. This is definitely referencing specific old boxing and fighting animes. All I felt was cold death. I could feel only the last lingering warmth of a living body. What's funny is death was highlighted there, so if every yellow thing might change in a New Game Plus, maybe she wouldn't be dead. Like, is there a potential New Game Plus here where nobody dies at all? I don't really know how you even get to this point though, without anybody dying. That would be a crazy twist. That would surprise me quite a bit if you could play every chapter and avert anybody from actually dying. Life had abandoned Sakura's body, and then so there are 3 people with me. We just discovered a dead body, which is weird because I guess you don't discover a dead body until you know it's dead or until you're in the same room with it. Otherwise, the 3 people would have looked through the window and seen Sakura dead. Ding dong, ding dong.
A body has been discovered. After a certain amount of time, which you may use however you like, the class trial will begin.
See, it would be funny if you kind of knew it was dead, but you decided not to walk into a room, or you decided to, one person found the dead body and said, hey, let's not discover the body until we do a complete search of the school and thoroughly investigate first so we have more time. Because there is kind of a shortage of time in these investigations. But yeah, the time ends because we've triggered all the facts that the game wants us to find, not because we actually ran out of time. It would be different and slightly weird if we actually had like only 10-20 minutes to investigate for the class trials and there was evidence you could just totally miss. So, All Stars Apology. I have no idea who these 2 characters are in the background though. They look like completely different girls. So, yeah, that's weird. Oh, he says, huh? We're getting this voiced. Now we have more custom art. And at least this time for Kyoko, they've got her hair the right color.
Dead? She's really dead?
This is definitely a scene that's supposed to be emotional. But you almost feel like Aoi should have been more emotional in her voice acting from the beginning of the game. She definitely could have been our ride-along character for emotional reactions, where Makoto's reactions are somewhat emotional, but not particularly as much as Aoi's. I heard Hina talking, but my eyes stared steadily forward. I could only look on at Sakura's dead body. We didn't make it in time. It's happened again. Muttering to herself, Kyoko began to gently inspect Sakura's body. I wondered, was she confirming that Sakura was really dead? Checking for a pulse or a reaction? ... I have to go get them. I have to go get the others. On shaky legs, Hina left the room. And why? Why did this have to happen? That's all I could say. I repeated it over and over again. I need to examine Sakura's body. I just stood there motionless behind her while she checked Sakura's corpse. Time passed. While I stood there, unable to do a thing, time just passed. And then after I don't know how long, I got everyone. Wow, ogre. So you can see in the back that the window is broken. Seems like it was a fairly clean break too. Oh, so she's dead, huh? Here we have Genocide Jill.
I see.
Sakura's been killed. I see. As soon as they arrived, Kyoko began.
Just a second.
You heard the announcement just now, right? So you know what this means. Sakura's murdered. And by someone in this very room. Is that what you're going to say?
Huh?
No. Whoever killed her. It's not just someone in this room. It's one of you. Hiro Byakuya Toko. One of you killed Sakura. What? You're accusing us before we've even begun the investigation? I don't need to investigate anything. Because you hated her. You hated the sight of her. One of you did it. I know it. ... You know it? And here we have Monokuma showing up to throw a wrench in the conversations again. Geez, I didn't know your power level would increase by that much just by getting mad. What are you doing here? Isn't it obvious here? I'm here to hand over my little murder flyer. That's right. What he said. And don't get so mad, Miss Asahina, or you're gonna ruin that lewd face of yours. Now with that hold on. There's something I want to ask you. Makoto is asking him. Huh? It was you, wasn't it? You killed Sakura. Now I kind of want to ask is like why is he saying that Aoi's face is lewd? Seems like that's just an insult for no reason. Which it would make more sense if that was the way Monokuma was always. He was just insulting everybody with every second sentence. But he kind of hasn't been consistently with that.
Say what?
Uh-huh. Sakura wanted to challenge the mastermind to a duel. Maybe you and her fought again, and then I killed her? Sorry, not quite. Actually, not even close. That whole thing is totally irrelevant now. Sakura came to the most regrettable end without even getting the chance to finish things with me. Which, thank God for that, it saved me the trouble of having to go through with our little fight. Because even for someone like me, it would have been no mean feat to take down a behemoth like that. I gotta tell you, I was actually pretty worried. I mean, she'd violate a rule by attacking me in the first place, but I wasn't able... She'd violated a rule by attacking me in the first place, but I wasn't able to punish her. So I don't know who it was, but whoever the blackened is this time, I owe you one. He does know who it was because he saw it on the camera, I'm assuming. You owe them one. Oopsie, before you get all pissy-potty at me, you better figure out who did it first. Because, I mean, your lives are all on the line, right? Pooh. Pooh.
What is this?
Yeah. There's, like, nothing specifically about her face that I would say is lewd. And frankly, that's kind of an insane thing to say about anybody, animated or otherwise, is that the way you naturally look is objectionable in one way or the other. It's not like people can affect the way they look, particularly in Aoi's case where it's not like she's wearing a ton of makeup or anything. Then it might make more sense to make that accusation. What the hell? He owes them one. I hate him. I hate this whole thing. Well, I for one am glad it was Sakura. She was working for the mastermind after all. How can you say that now? Sorry, I don't have time for your squabbling. The next game has already begun. If you want to be angry at someone, be angry at whoever killed Sakura. ...
Anyway.
Right now, our top priority needs to be uncovering Sakura's killer. If we can't do that, we're all dead. Then let's decide who will stand guard this time. I'll do it. Hina, I'm okay. Just let me handle it. Besides, I want to be here with Sakura. We're consistently seeing that Aoi Asahina does not ever seem to be involved with any of the investigations, which either just is consistently reinforcing that she's an idiot and a terrible investigator, which is probably the case, or maybe it is the secret here that she maybe is the mastermind or a genius in some other way. That would be interesting twist. I don't know if that's the way they would really want to go. I'm not sure they want to show any of these characters as being the mastermind, but maybe every Danganronpa game has one character being the mastermind. Anyways, if we were to see, like, ultimate moral compass, you could claim to be that and not actually be that pretty easily. Ultimate affluent prodigy, yes. Biker gang leader. Yeah, the baseball star is the only one that really could be questioned to prove his ability. Where some of these other abilities, like ultimate clairvoyant, for instance, would be hard to prove one way or the other. So, yeah, claiming to be an ultimate swimming pro could easily be tested at some point, where we could have just asked her to swim in the pool. There is a pool to prove her ability, and almost certainly somebody has seen her swim in the pool. Where, yeah, a lot of these other characters could claim easily to be something they're not. Sorry, I'm yawning there. Like the ultimate fashionista, though, you would have already seen her and she would have been famous. So, and a lot of these characters would have been famous. Ultimate baseball star would have been famous. So if the mastermind is amongst one of these people, there's only a few people it could be. And frankly, Makoto is probably your #1 pick to be the mastermind. That would be an interesting twist, but it would have to be explained one of two ways. Either you have a split personality, or if you've erased your memories of being the mastermind, or you simply have a very unreliable narrator in this game, and Makoto has been the mastermind this whole time, and maybe the Monokuma Theater is the point when you act as the mastermind and talk to Monokuma, and you're being shown something completely different. Anyways, besides I want to be here with Sakura. Okay, then then Hina is guard #1, but we need one more. Kyoko, that's you.
What?
Me. You're always a thorn in my side. This time just stand by and watch quietly. Consider that an order. An order?
That's fine.
Fine, I'll stay behind. Then it's settled. Let's begin, shall we? Hold on. Before that, there's something I want to say.
What?
Which is, Hiro, Byakuya, Choko, none of you are allowed to step foot in the crime scene. What?
It's your fault.
One of you killed Sakura.
I won't forgive
I
you.
won't let someone like that come anywhere near her.
Stop talking.
Don't be stupid. Our lives are in just as much danger as yours. We have every right to investigate. I don't care what you say. I'm not letting letting the one who killed Sakura anywhere near her. Even if it means I have to use force, you're not getting in here. Well, it appears further discussion would be a waste of time. How about a compromise?
All clear now.
I won't ask you to let all of us in. Just let me in. What? You don't really care, do you? You're both useless anyway. Nope, don't really care. Okay. I'd rather spend my time coming up with another splendid fantasy involving Master anyways. And you, Hero, do you really object? If you're gonna go that far, what can I do? I mean, I don't have anything to hide, so why should I care?
All clear now.
That's decided. Nothing's
Calm
decided.
down.
I know how you feel, Hina, but you should agree to his request. But
Hey,
we have to find out who killed Sakura.
correct.
For those of us who are still alive, and to honor Sakura's memory. Fine, I guess that's okay, but no matter what, Byakuya, you absolutely aren't allowed to touch her. Naturally, who would want to touch a filthy dead body?
Listen.
That's enough fighting. We need to focus on investigating from here on out. Everyone, keep this in mind. If we can't uncover Sakura's killer, all of us face execution. Finding out who killed Sakura. It's not a matter of hoping we can do it. If we want to survive, we have to do it. It's a kind of hopeless hope. We have no choice but to just do it. So we're going to start investigation mode. I better check the Monokuma file before anything else. Victim is Sakura Ogami. The time of death is estimated around 12 noon. Body was discovered in the rec room on the 3rd floor of the school. There is evidence of a strong blow to the victim's head. No other injuries were noted. However, it seems at some point the victim suffered a violent vomiting of blood. So that's been added to our truth bullet things. I think the case this time might be a challenge. Why is that?
So,
The only way the rec room is the only way into the rec room is the door we just came through. And the door had been jammed shut with a chair from inside the rec room. I assume it's the chair that is now back in its regular position, or there was another chair. So there were two like individual chairs on one side and one love seat. It's what they're called when it can hold two people on the other side. The door had been jammed from a chair inside the rec room, which means the killer would have to escape somehow after barring the door. So if the door was blocked from inside and there was no way in or out till we broke the window, then there's like zero escape, right? See, I feel like that is a direct just reference to the Zero Escape series.
In
other words, this is a classic locked room murder. Locked room murder. I guess you might have seen this kind of thing a lot in mystery movies or books or whatever. But could it really happen in real life? And right before our very eyes like this?
Hey.
Are you curious to hear more about what a locked room murder entails? Sure, if you don't mind. You can't even say no. Well, you break this kind of murder mystery down. There are 4 basic types. First, as the locked room is created after the actual crime is committed. That simply means the killer committed his crime and then through some special method seals the room. Having a door wedged against a handle seems like something you potentially could try to do. It would be kind of hard though to pull that off. This mainly involves some sort of trick involving locking of the room. Basic approaches including using a string or a simple mechanism. There are a number of variations. So for that, all we'd have to do is check the door to see if that's what it was, right?
Correct.
Second type is when the locked room already exists before the crime is committed. Oh.
In other words,
basically the character uses a special contraption or tool from outside to target the victim inside. You push a switch and it fires a handgun. You shoot an arrow through a gap in the door. Something like that.
however,
But in this case that doesn't seem to fit. There are no guns and arrows in the school. What's funny there is that will be proven to not be true later. And the door doesn't have any gap that would allow it. Yes, I think we can probably cross that one off the list. The fact that at some point later in the story that statement becomes negated really goes to show how they worked backwards to make each chapter work, keeping things as isolated per chapter as possible.
it's true.
Third type is when the killer stays in the room until it's open. What do you mean by
In
that?
other words,
They stay hidden, and when the doors open, they use the confusion to blend in with the group. They pretend they showed up along with everyone else, and that's that. That's going to be kind of a hard trick to pull off, knowing how there's so few people left. That sounds like it could have been a possible, maybe.
it's true.
And the fourth and final type is it wasn't actually a locked room at all. Not a
In
locked
other
room?
words,
By that I mean there is actually an alternate escape route somewhere within the room. You see it a lot in novels and things, but in reality it's generally not possible. Then you think we can cross that one off too?
indeed.
I believe so, yes. So when it comes to locked room mysteries, those are the basics. So there are 4 possibilities. Then Kyoko, which of the 4 choices seems most likely in this case?
It's true.
That's a good question. Answering that should be our primary focus during this trial. But right now, I can't really say. I see. The way the killer set up the locked room, until I figure that out, the truth behind Sakura's death will stay hidden. It's definitely a tough mystery. I need to concentrate and investigate as much as I can. For Sakura, if nothing else. Right, so I guess this chair was here against this kind of handle, which, yeah, wedging under that kind of handle with some kind of mechanism would be difficult to say the least. Then we've got a whole bunch of other things to investigate, and we will do that in the next recording. Let's go ahead and save. 22 save slots. We will almost certainly have to circle around. And let's end this recording. So I guess I wasn't particularly set back that much by having not played this game in a while. So we can just move forward and continue to try and get through this long-running visual novel as quickly as possible. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.